Okay, so the next logical thing is David, in David's CPI, it's called Sphere of Influence.
Yeah.
I learned it as Golden Bubble from Tom Bazzini a while ago. You guys are not gonna get the smurfing, so too bad.
I know what it means.
Why? Does people do
I've heard
to
it.
you?
I've heard it
That's,
before.
I'm so
No,
sorry for
I
it.
gotta leave.
Okay, so the whole thing is you know what it feels like to create that rapport very quickly. Now you can use it with another person or a group of people. So, two volunteers, Mark and Kat. This is doing the same, a very similar thing. All right, so if you get the idea that there's an energy field around us, we can all manipulate it, we can use it, right? So we're going into an interaction, and I use a mental construct of a golden bubble surrounding us. I go in neutral, feel where they are first, create the golden bubble. Look at the camera, guys.
Oh.
So they can see. So I'm going to step in, right? We're all here, you are where you are, and I create a mental construct of a golden bubble around us. Look at his cheeks. If you want to make it stronger, energy flows. Imagine which way it's flowing. Imagine it getting brighter and more vivid and sparking. And you, like David says, you let it go so you can have a nice interaction with the person, and you let your unconscious take care of it, because it'll still be there. Now, step out for a second. And how does that feel?
I want to be in the bubble.
Come on back in. Step in. Okay, step out.
No,
See how it feels.
yeah, it definitely, yeah.
It's cold out there.
Yeah, it is. It's cold. It's cold out there. Yeah. I'm gonna jump.
Yeah, feels warmer in here.
Okay, so now imagine doing that in a meeting
Yeah,
Yeah.
or in a group situation with a jury,
yeah.
Bubble.
With a room full of seminar attendees
with a room full of seminar attendees.
For 3 days straight.
So
And
just see where you are right now, and we'll see how that golden bubble feels.
It'd be interesting as well to try that. Okay, you told us that you were going there, and
Okay.
I'm quite visual, so I can
Okay, so
imagine.
okay, so I understand. So we'll do it. Go neutral. Right. Step out. Okay, so raise your hand when you feel something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that.
I always
It's a heater
feel
or
you.
something. There's something.
Actually, who was it that I nailed with the Smurf?
Uh, no, that was that crazy woman in the in the
Wasn't
pizza
me
shop.
either.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so turn around, step out. Okay, just step backwards and raise your hand when you feel something.
Yeah.
Okay? So now you guys are gonna try it.
It's actually there's static on the hairs of my arm. There's static.
Break into groups of 3
There's static.
and give it a shot.
So do you have your teaching materials in written format? What we have up there, is it in this book somewhere? Or?
It's some of the concepts, not this stuff. This stuff is not in the book.
Okay.
This stuff is only as a gift for you guys for showing up.
Okay.
Or buying the DVDs. Does anybody have this stuff, which I know is not very detailed, but if you have it,
Got
that's
it.
great. If you don't,
Thank you.
James,
yes.
do you want to start with rapport or do you want to start with criterion values?
Oddly enough, it doesn't matter which one you do, because you get the criterion values at the level that we're talking about, or even just at the level of the echo technique, you create rapport. If you create rapport the way we did with the physical rapport, either when we did it earlier with just the state changes and the state control, or by doing it by stepping in, which is my shortcut, then you create rapport. And they'll give you the criterion values when you ask. The only time you don't get the criterion values is when you forget to ask. So you will remember to ask from now on.
Won't you?
Do you see my point? Excellent. So, everybody got this?
Yes.
We don't need this anymore? Well, you always need it.
Yeah.
But now you have it
But it-
inside, deep
it's
inside your mind. You have it. You'll remember to use it.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, so we'll get rid of this stuff. Because Ed's not going to understand what it means, so that's okay. Okay, so we were going to do objection mastery. Basically, I asked yesterday, I don't know if anybody did it, to write down some objections that they get. Basically, what we're going to do, you want to isolate the objection. So usually the objection is in the form of some type of belief. And if you don't have both sides, remember we said belief, you need both sides. You can't overcome the objection. So if somebody, for example, says, it's too expensive, what do you fight against? You don't know why they think it's too expensive. You have to find out. So you say, as we said before, because you need to have both sides of the belief in order to overcome the objection. So we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to be reframing the internal state, right, or the external behavior. And we do that with our old friend, cause and effect, or complex equivalence. So, does anybody have objections that they come across? Jamin,
It's too long,
it's because,
because I can't sit in a group for 2 hours. You can't,
so it's not a very strong objection.
Yeah.
So stick with the it's too expensive,
Okay, it's too expensive because,
because we have a set budget.
okay, so because you have a set budget, and I understand that, and because you have a set budget, that just means that you need to have certain parts of what I offer that'll fit with your budget.
Why do I need those certain parts?
Well, let me ask you this. When we're talking about what we're doing, the things that we would like you to do with us, what's important for you with this stuff?
That my sales force is equipped with the right tools that are cost effective, that fit within our strategy.
Okay, great. So what's important for, I don't understand the tools that you need and the strategy that you're trying to employ. So tell me a little bit about this strategy, because this is the way I can show you how these things work.
Okay, so one strategy of ours is to make sure the doctors know that our products are affordable to their patients.
Absolutely.
That's
I
one
agree.
pillar of our strategy. And so the sales force already has a sales aid that talks about the clinical value of the product and lets the doctors know that it's covered by insurance.
Right, so you're talking about these things, so basically, the question really comes down to, are you talking about price or are you talking about value? Because when you're talking about price, there's a lot of things that can compete on price, but when we're talking about value, that's how you grow your business.
So go ahead and prove to me that that's going to grow my business.
Okay, but I need to know a little bit about what the other pillars of the strategy are.
Okay? That's fine.
So that's the
I'll give you
thing, so
one.
we can get into the conversation, each one is you take it and then you can change the objections. So I need to understand the full thing. He's going into very deep things that's happening in his business. So I need to know what all those pillars are, because they're all going into the belief that he's saying about it's too expensive. And I need to open up that dialogue. But when I said, well, let's talk about that, tell me a little bit more about that, he said, okay, I'll tell you. And you see, unless you know what's going on, you cannot defeat the objection, because it's in there, and I have to find out what's driving it.
Are you guys getting the fact that he is in fact creating a dialogue and he is not presenting?
Yes.
Okay, this is a very important distinction. Salesmen present. They present their case, They just have a script, or they
Have a
have a
pitch.
set presentation, they do it and
PowerPoint.
they're done. That is not what this is about. This is about value-based, relationship-based interactions. Okay, and that's what this is, the whole approach. You know, if you can tell by some of the ways that, and this is, I'm sorry if I'm interrupting.
No, please.
You can tell a lot by the way that Chris is talking about his business, that his people have a set presentation.
So the question is, when's the worst time to get an objection?
At the
As
very
soon as
beginning,
possible.
when you can't,
To not get one at all, actually.
The worst time to get an objection is at the end of the presentation, because you shot your load.
Literally.
Yeah, because you have no place to go. They know everything you want to say. And then if you start trying to overcome their objections at the end, they're going to say, why didn't you tell me about that before? Why are you wasting my time? Right? You need to get the criterion values first. Will overcome most of the objections, because then you're talking to them, avoiding the objections. If you do get objections, you want to deal with them up front, as to the greatest extent possible. So, anybody else have objections that they get?
I just wanna know what this is gonna cost me. I don't wanna hear the whole thing, I just wanna know what the bottom line is.
Okay, so let me ask you this, just so I understand, are we talking about cost or are we talking about value? Because they're two different things, aren't they?
Yeah,
So that's where we use complex equivalence, and we reframed, right, your internal state. Your internal state there was, oh, well, it's too expensive, I just want to know what this is before I'll even talk to you, right? But now your internal state changes, right? When I start talking about the complex equivalence of, is it price or is it value? I changed what it is. I named it, therefore it exists. It may not even be that. But, once I move you off of that first, then we open a dialogue.
Would you say something like, if money weren't an issue, would this be, and then kind of throw that off to the side that way, and then
No,
talk?
I wouldn't, because it is an issue. Money's always an issue. Why would money not be an issue?
We never nominalized.
I was just trying to
these.
get them to talk more instead of just,
Right, well, then
Stopping
they know
there.
you're talking around money, so we can talk price, but let's talk about what we're doing here first, and what you need. Because ultimately, it's about getting you what you need. And to the extent that I can
so you're
help you, that's
deflecting
great.
it that way. Okay.
It's not deflecting, I'm just reframing. In this case,
Well, you're deflecting in that, we can talk about that, but first, let's do
well,
this.
we will.
So James, you come back at me with a value,
Yeah, in this
an
case,
objection handler.
in this
And I come
case.
back to you and say, well, there's also 2 other vendors who are gonna do it for cheaper than you.
Sure, absolutely. And you know what happens? Sometimes you get what you pay for. Because, yes, they may be cheaper. Do they provide you what you need?
One of them.
Do they
we're-
have the reputation that I have for having been doing this for a long time?
One of them I've worked with before, and they've done a
Okay.
good job.
And they've done a good job. Here's the question, what could they have done better?
Could they have done better?
Yeah.
I was pretty satisfied.
Pretty satisfied. Were you totally satisfied? Because there's always things that could be done better, aren't there?
Okay, fine, I'll give you this one. Because I could honestly tell you, no, it was fine, I got what I wanted for the money I was willing to pay.
That's great. Yeah,
No, this is a client, this is
Sure.
exactly what I hear.
and I agree with you, because if you're absolutely satisfied, and you know you're gonna be satisfied down the line, that these people will always be the people there for you, then you should stay with them. And I would appreciate it if you referred me to somebody else who might be good for this. Now, on the other hand, when you're certain that they're the ones for you, that's great. However, there may be a part of you that's thinking, I need to have somebody else involved as well. I mean, because otherwise I'm putting all my eggs in one basket, and you know what happens then. And there's another part of you that's thinking, I should really think about this. Think about having my options open. Because what happens if something happens to my supplier and they fail? It only takes one time to fail when you don't have any backup.
In my industry, kind of not, but, okay. I'm not trying to put you on the spot too much.
No,
but
I
my
understand
industry,
that.
so it's
Yeah,
not
I mean, I
fair,
don't
but
know your
appreciate what you're
industry,
saying.
But there are different ways to
I
do
don't
it.
know
So,
what time.
so basically, the internal state is I'm absolutely satisfied, right? So what you want to do is redefine that, reframe them being satisfied.
Okay.
And you do that by chunking up. You say, so have they always satisfied you? And you said pretty satisfied. So that means sometimes they didn't.
Of course. I mean, if you do, no, but if you do 25 projects
Sure.
and they screw up one,
And
I'm not gonna assume that you're gonna do any better than that.
Okay, I'm not asking you to assume that.
Okay.
I'm asking you, let's start with one, and we'll show you what we can do.
All right.
Because I'm absolutely confident we can satisfy what you need to do.
I'm glad you're confident.
Well, if you're not confident, you shouldn't be talking to them. There's an issue of congruence there, you know? I mean, like when we're doing hypnosis, right? You're hypnotizing somebody. You've done that. I don't know to the extent that you've done it before, but you did it this weekend. Are you confident you could do it?
So,
Are you more confident that you could do it than you were before?
yes,
Okay. And if you did it a few more times successfully,
I get more and more confident.
you'd be absolutely confident, right? Yeah, that's the thing. So unless you're confident, you have no business doing it. So in your business, if you're not confident and your reps aren't confident, you have an issue with your reps. Or maybe you have an issue with your product and your involvement with that product, you need to find another one. Right? But if you're absolutely sure that you're the best one, you're the best solution for these people that you're speaking to, they'll want to talk to you. But you have to have that inside.
Yeah, it should be coming out of your powers, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you can't answer why they should be buying from you, right? Why they shouldn't be using you, what do you do for them that's better than the way anybody else does it? Then you're just another people competing on price. You want to compete on value, on what you bring to the table. You're unique. Nobody is like you. You will never be me. I will never be you. Right? But what you do is unique. And you have to show them why it's unique. JP, you had a question?
Yeah, I get questions, then you mostly answer them, but so in the newspaper business,
Yes.
it's pretty static. You know, there's X amount of papers right now. There's
Sure.
not more, there's not less, right? I want to give you a bit of a background. And a lot of these newspapers are, I guess you could say, married to their printers, because some of them have been around 20 years with the same printer. And in the end, we both print the same thing, right? Like my quality of print is similar to their quality of print. One day I have a bad print job, one day they have a bad print job, so I know I can go in on that day if I get lucky.
Right.
So what I'm trying to find out, and I understand your terms of value, we both deliver, you both get the good print job. Basically, that's what they want, is their paper in their hand at a decent price.
Right.
We are slightly more expensive, and that's always the thing, right? And it's
Sure.
sold on price, but I'm trying to figure a way to get around that. But like I said, I give them papers, they're getting papers.
Well, so what are they telling you? What's the objection?
It's the price.
It's the
Or they're
price.
not looking for somebody.
They're not looking for somebody. Okay, I understand that. You're not looking for somebody now,
Mm-hmm,
but you could be in the future.
right.
Because you never know what's going to happen to the other people that you use. And especially if there's only a couple of people who can do this type of quality.
Right.
And there's only one company that does this type of reliability.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're interested in that, then we can have a conversation.
Okay. Right. That's what I was asking, that's what I was wanting to find
Sure.
out, where do I lead this to? Because it's kind of a paradigm I put myself in, like, it's all a construct around money, and we have the equivalent thing, right? So I appreciate the break of the paradigm.
Yeah, I mean, and then you can use the stop, start now, right? You know, and I know you're thinking about price, but when you stop and really think about the value of the service that we provide and begin to see down the line how the value of this and your paper coming out regularly and being in your hands on time and in your budget,
Right.
is gonna be more valuable for you, not just now, but in the future, then we can start having a conversation about where we can go with this. You ready to do that now? Or shall we
Yeah.
set up a time later?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Now's good, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. This is where you start using the patterns you learned in objections. You must identify the point of the objection. Because, you know, if you don't have both sides, there's nothing to lever against. But all the things that you learn to use the language patterns, you can use in overcoming objections. Anybody have any other objections? Things that they hear, if you're looking for a job,
I
what do
don't
you
have
hear?
time, let's say, you know, somebody might say, they don't have time to do it.
They don't have time to do it
Well, like if
because-
you're teaching them something they're supposed to do every day, for
Mhm.
example.
Okay,
and-
because,
Because my schedule is so busy, I work, I come home, I have to take care of the kids.
right. And realistically, I understand that. You have a full schedule. On the other hand, well, the value of what you do, if I could just ask, it's the coaching, right? It's the vocal coaching, or is it what?
Well, no, I
people
was
want?
thinking of a different situation. but,
Okay, but what's the situation, if I can ask?
Like, some people who were learning some Qigong with me, and then
Okay.
they didn't want to do it every day, and,
Okay,
oh,
sure.
I can't do it. And,
Well, you
yeah.
can use a couple of things, right? So I understand you have a very full schedule. And I know you like to do the things that you like to do, and you have to do certain things as well. Now, when you stop and really think about what Qigong does for you, and the type of energy it'll give you to get the things that you want to do done, the things that you have to do done easier, and it'll give you more energy and more time to enjoy the things you love to do. Isn't it worth investing a little bit of time to do these exercises throughout the course of the day? You can break them up, still have the same effect. And in the long run, you're going to enjoy your life a lot more. You'll feel a lot healthier and a lot happier. Now, doesn't it make sense to at least give it a little time to learn these types of things and to see where it can take you?
Yeah, I think the key is like get them started, and then they can see the benefit themselves.
But if you get the criteria and values from them to begin with,
Yeah.
they probably won't do it. Now, here's the thing. Let's get an objection where we have the criteria and values beforehand, because then you can lever the criteria and values with them. Vic, what do you hear sometimes? You're in sales.
Okay, so one of them would be, I see you've got Seattle plates on your, or I see you've got Washington plates on your car. You're not from around here.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And that's important because?
You know, all these storm chasers are coming into the area, and we hear that, you know, there are bad companies that's out on the news, people getting ripped off and stuff.
I agree with you. There are a lot of bad companies out there. Let me ask you this, though. What's important for you in the company that you work with?
I hear a lot of people are getting their deductibles paid.
Uh-huh.
My deductible's a 1% deductible. I've got $350,000 value house. That
Right.
1% is $3,500.
Right.
I don't have that
understand.
money right now.
Okay, $3,500 is a lot. I understand that. It's a tough thing. Let me ask you this. Are we talking about price or are we talking about values? Because, let me ask you this, you know, setting aside the money, what's important for you in the company that you work with? Fixing your roof.
They're not gonna run off with the money.
Right, absolutely. That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's, you know, here's the thing. The money is important, absolutely, I understand that. But realistically, with the storms that are coming, isn't it more important to have your roof fixed by a company that has a great reputation, that's reliable, that's going to do the job right? Because when the next storm comes, you don't want to have this issue again. And I understand that $3,500 is a lot. We can work with you on the price.
Yeah, $3,500 buys a lot of buckets at Home Depot, though.
It does buy a lot of buckets, but does it save you from having mold down the line? where you'll have to move out of your house, where your house becomes unlivable. That's a tough thing. Because, you know, is it a house or is it a home? You want to protect your home. It's important, isn't it? It's great. So would you like to talk about how we can help you on putting this done, getting this done before the next storm?
I'm really concerned about the money. I mean, $3,500, you know what the economy is like right now, and
Sure.
I don't have $3,500.
I understand
What are you gonna
that.
do for me? Are you gonna take care of that deductible? Other companies are willing to take care of that
Well,
deductible.
of course they're willing to take care of that deductible because they don't care about whether your house is fixed properly or not.
How can you say that?
With his mouth.
Because does the $3,500 mean the difference between your having a roof over your head and not? Because we can work with you on that, okay?
That's the
But,
same thing I tell people. That's the same, yeah.
How does it work for you?
Oh, I mean, it work. In fact, I don't want to pay the, as me as the company owner, I don't want to pay the $3,500 deductible, but I'll be willing to work with them some way on it.
Absolutely. We can
When
work
the time
out some-
rolls around, it's like, well, you know, I can help you out with a few $100s or something like
To
that.
the
but-
extent that we can work with you on the $3,500, and you can get what you need to have your home protected, to have your family protected in the storms that are coming, and you know what those are like. Doesn't it just make sense to go with the best company as opposed to the cheapest company?
Do you get the objection, you're not local, you do
Oh,
the roof,
yeah.
and then who's
Yeah. Oh,
here?
yeah,
You give a warranty, but you're
yeah,
not
where are
around.
you gonna be in,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Where are you gonna be in 6 months?
I'm gonna be here. This is what I do. I live in Seattle because I have a life in Seattle. My career is here. This is what I do. I'm not a storm chaser. I'm a person who comes down and does the job right. And that just means I have experience in other parts of the country, so I know what to look for, not only here, but over there as well. So I have a lot of experience I can bring to the table from other parts of the country where the weather is vastly different, but I can bring these techniques. I know the right ones to bring to the table. So doesn't it just make sense for us to have a conversation about how we can help you out now?
Sure, why not?
So how
So-
do you address the objection?
Oh, how do I address those
You're
objections?
not
Okay,
around.
why don't you play the homeowner? I'll tell you some of what my answers are.
Okay.
You wanna do that?
Sure.
Okay. So,
So the other companies will give me $3,500.
well, I'll tell you what we can do. I can't pay your deductible because that's fraud. If I say I'm gonna pay your whole deductible, but I'm happy to work with you on it. You know, every referral I get from you that turns into a job that we do, I pay $100 for each one of those referrals that we get paid on.
Right, I understand. But how does that help me? I have a hole in my roof.
Uh-huh. That's where I get tripped up.
Because you didn't get the criterion values first.
Okay.
See, what I did was, I just, again, it was cause and effect. X doesn't mean this, it means this. I also didn't talk about your house. I stopped talking about your house, I started talking about your home. What's the difference?
A house is like an object, but a home is something that you value and live in.
It's something special.
House is
Yeah.
4 walls, the home is where you live.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And I said, it doesn't mean that, when you say, well, you're not from Seattle, you're not from here, you're from Seattle.
Uh-huh. So how would I handle that?
No, that's what I
Okay.
just, when you say, well, you're not local. I
Uh-huh.
said, and where are you gonna be? Yeah, I'm not local. Pace. Lead. That just means that I have experience from other parts of the country where they have severe weather. But I'm gonna be here because my career is here.
Yeah, that's good.
I
It's-
just wondered, what do you do with that now?
What do I say? I say, well, I've been, working in this area. I've been staying here for a while because there's plenty of damage, and we're going to be around for a while. We're coming up on our 3rd year here in the
You
area.
know what you could say? I'm not from here. My career is here. We're gonna be here as long as there are storms down in Alabama.
And it's true because you say it. You don't have any data to back it up.
Why would you not be there when that's where the work is?
That would be unethical, Chris.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and there's a lot of people who say a lot of stuff.
exactly.
Right, but when you're congruent about it, here's the thing, are you gonna run off with their money?
Nope.
Are you in fact going to be there like James is portraying?
Are you gonna be there as long as there are storms? for you
Yeah,
to
I'm gonna be
fix?
there as long as there are storms there. Yeah.
What was your hesitation?
No, he's thinking in terms of, is he gonna live there?
Yeah, am I gonna be there permanently? I mean, I don't have a
Is he
desire to
gonna
be
move
there
there?
permanently. I mean, that's not,
And move his residence
But
there?
is it
Yeah.
safe to say you're gonna continue to service that area?
yes.
Then there you go.
Okay,
And when you say, I'm gonna be here as long as there are storms,
okay.
right?
Mhm.
How long, when will storms stop in Alabama?
Probably not for a while.
And if they say, well, why will you be there? Because this is where the action is.
Mhm.
We're the best company.
Mhm.
We need to be here. We need to be the ones fixing these things so they don't break again. Because we're the best ones.
Mhm.
Unless you're not.
I'm the best.
You sure?
I provide, I'm accountable. I mean, the name of my company is Reliable Roofing, and, you know, I'm reliable. I answer the phone when you call, you know, I answer the phone 24 hours a day, pretty much, so.
That's
Now,
good enough for me.
As a brief aside, one of the things you can also do is you can actually do a little bit of a rules elicitation. So I see you're from out of state. How do I know I can rely on you? Well, let me ask you a question. How do you know when a company's reliable? How do you go about finding out if a company's truly reliable? Answer the question.
Me as a customer?
Yeah.
Okay, I wanna see your license,
Okay.
okay? I wanna
We're
see
an
your
open book. Our
insurance.
license, do you
Yeah.
carry your license in the car? Or
I got it on my computer,
All right.
yeah.
Is there a website that they can access?
Nope,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right. Is it okay to carry a copy of your license around?
Sure, I can do that, yeah.
What else, what do you do next? That makes you feel more secure about hiring a company?
References,
Okay?
yeah.
So is it, assuming you have references
Mhm.
of people who are local that you've worked with?
Yep.
who
I'll
would say
give
positive?
you 100 references, and I'll give you the 2 that I pissed off. I put the wrong color roof on one house, and my crew showed up at the wrong time another time. But
Then what would you do?
those customers were happy.
Here's my point, is if you're gonna research a roofer, you're gonna wanna check their license, you're gonna wanna talk to people they've worked on.
Mhm.
What are you gonna do next? That's gonna, well, how far, what do you do next that lets you know this is a reliable person?
Angie's Nest.
That would satisfy me. Those things would satisfy me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Vic, I'm here to tell you that I am fully licensed in this state. My licenses are an open book. I even carry a copy of them in the car. In fact, I have a list of people in your area that I've personally worked with who are dramatically satisfied. I'm such an open book. I'm not perfect. I'll be honest with you. I screw up. These are actually some of the people that I made a mistake with. You can call them and ask them how I made it better for them. So I want you to know that I'm an open book and I'm willing to go through whatever process you need to do to feel absolutely comfortable working with me.
That's great.
So what's important to you about finding someone like me that you can continue to work with?
That's important. Yeah. I'm sold.
Okay, so did you catch the embedded command?
No, they went right past me. That was.
Finding someone like me,
Uh-huh.
Like me.
but finding someone like me also.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
You found somebody. He's right there.
Wow.
You told me exactly the process that you used to select a company. All I did was mirror it back to you
Mhm.
and then linked it.
Mhm.
But you had evidence.
Well, yeah, because I found out what he needed.
Mhm.
I didn't try to guess.
We're not saying here in any way say stuff just to say stuff.
You're
with
making an
words.
assumption that when people use these tactics, they're doing something unethical.
Not necessarily. I'm saying I get people saying, oh, I'm the best for this all the time. I'm like,
Well, of course,
based on what?
exactly.
Based
How
on-
do you know?
Yeah, how would you know somebody's the best at something?
That's what I'm.
Well, how would you
you're
know?
asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your criteria? What's your?
What are your rules for
Right, I
determining?
dig that. If you can ask me.
That's a rules elicitation.
Yeah.
That's how the people recognize that they're getting the value or the criteria.
How do you know when you're getting the best service for something? Because obviously we've all had service in some type of area in our lives. Right? How do you know? Obviously, there's a checklist of things that you have in your life that make you satisfied with a product or a service, right? Think of something that you bought that you're really happy about.
Okay.
Okay? How do you know you're happy about it?
Okay, I could come up with a few things, yeah.
And if I asked you and you told me, and I was able to satisfy those things with the product that I have,
With data.
would, I'm sorry?
With data.
Yeah, with data.
Okay.
Yeah. Would it be okay for you to think about buying it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, we're not saying there's no data behind what we say, but we want to speak to you in a way where we're speaking on the level of understanding what you want. Because if I can't give it to you, or if the data doesn't show what it is, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Because you're not the person I want to work with anyway.
Yeah.
So here's the other important thing. Here's a key question. We've done what's important to you about this, what's important for you about that. Here's the key question that's really cool. Not too many people do it. A lot of people ask what's important for you about this. Key question that you ask after that, because it'll not only it will attest whether you got the real criteria and values, it'll also seal the deal for you, especially if somebody doesn't really know what the criteria and values are. Because a lot of people, remember you said, that's a good question. Because you never think about it. So not everybody can get there. The question is, just so I understand you a little bit better, you gotta soften it. What are you not getting with whatever it is that we're speaking about, or that I want to speak with you about? Here's the thing, Vic. Somebody tells you about the type of companies they want or the type of roof that they want. Let me ask you this. What are you not getting with the companies that you've been talking to about fixing your roof? Trans.
Now, that assumes they would know what they're not getting. 'Cause
People are more likely to know what they're not getting than what they want.
Unless they don't know,
Unless they don't know what they don't know.
yeah.
Well, that's
Which
true.
is what
Which is
you-
our job then
question.
as salespeople to at least give them enough seeds.
And it could be that you don't know what you don't know, and that's where the issue is with having a company that's just offering to pay your deductible out of nowhere, because you don't know whether they're a good company or a reliable company or not, or maybe they may not even be qualified to be up on your roof, let alone fixing it. Maybe they don't have insurance, I don't know. Maybe they're not bonded, maybe they're not licensed. You gotta be careful about the things you don't know, but these are the things I know, and I wanna share with you about how to fix your roof.
I'm glad I'm getting a DVD on this.
But you see, when you ask, what are you not getting from what you're saying? If you ask those
I never
newspaper,
thought about asking a question like that.
yeah, nobody does, but I do. Here's the thing, if you ask them, you say, okay, so they want price, they want this, they want that. I know you're using somebody else. What are you not getting from them?
I frankly, I wouldn't know what to answer.
Right, but they would.
Right, they would.
They would. That's another area of criteria and values that you can use in what you are telling them and the information you're conveying with them. So I would always ask first, get the criteria and values. What's important for you about this? Drill down. You don't always have to drill down 3 levels. Kenrick teaches at 3 levels to get really deep. I think if you're getting a big emotional reaction, you're probably as deep as you need to go, and you can leverage that. Then, just so I fully understand you and I get the full picture, what are you not getting from X? Or from the person who's supplying you X? and then we'll see.
I don't know if there's damage up on my roof. I mean,
yeah.
they're just, you know, how do I know that they found damage up on the roof? How do I know you guys found damage up on the roof?
You know,
I mean,
here's the thing. That's important. You don't know. And maybe those other companies don't know either. And so they may be telling you something that you need fixed. I'll show you. We'll go up together. I'll show you how we find out whether you need
I'm
something.
not
to be
getting up
fixed.
on my
You
roof.
take a digital photograph.
Exactly.
We'll take-
That's what I do. Is I say I
Right,
do take
exactly.
digital
Well,
photographs. Yeah.
well, you can offer this. I'm not getting up on the roof.
Uh-huh.
Let me get up there. I'll take a picture.
Yeah, that's
If
good.
it's not, if you don't need your roof fixed, that's great for you. We'll have a connection to the extent that should you get damage, God forbid, you know who to call. Now, who else do you know would do that for you? And who else do you know would be interested in having their roof fixed? Because, you know, you were one of the people who had a good one, and that's great. But I know you know people who don't. I'd be happy to provide that service for them too.
Surveys are really good for doing this stuff.
I'm sorry?
Surveys are very good for doing this. Because you get to say, you put in a contract of a survey, hey, we're just doing some market research, we're trying to figure out what would be the best
Surveys are good for doing what, if I may ask?
for getting the criteria and values, and to motivate an awareness of an
Why?
option that,
Because surveys, are you saying I'm doing a survey and you're trying to get the criteria and values?
that is one way.
Okay, why? Because you're lying
Because
to
it's
them.
less, it's
Do you
they
care?
are less guarded.
Here's the question, do you care about them being in your survey? Not really, you want the criteria and values. Just be upfront and ask. See, when you were talking about being ethical about how you use it, right? I'm coming to you and I say, hey, this is what I'm doing, can you help me out? And I'm interested in you. You're going in and saying, oh, well, I'm doing a survey, but what I really want is your criteria and values. That's not honest. And that's incongruent. Because you know deep down inside that you're not really doing a survey. You want the criteria and values.
It's not
So-
building a good relationship,
Yeah,
regardless
Yeah.
of whether you get the business or not.
yeah.
No, we're not saying that the tactic won't work. We're saying that based on the standards and rules that we apply our techniques, it's inconsistent.
Yeah, but basically what James is teaching us here is language patterns that if you've got two companies offering the same service, that these language patterns and rapport will give you an edge over your competitors in terms of dealing with them. It's not that, it's pulling air out of bags and calling it gold dust. It's just...
That's why you just gotta be honest with people. People
It's just
are
giving you
dying
the
to
edge
tell
in a
you.
market that's full of credible
what they want.
companies, but your company, you're going to have the edge because you know how to communicate better with people than the rest of them.
People are dying to tell you what they want because nobody ever asks.
All they ever do is they walk in the door and they splurt features and benefits at
Yeah.
them. And they hit them with objection after objection until they either ask you to leave or get beaten into submission until you leave, and then they refund.
See, the thing about, when I come to you and I start spouting features and benefits, it's about me. When I ask you what's important for you about what it is that you need, it's about you. Also, if I say, what are you not getting? And if I can't, fulfill any of those, and I come to you, Chris, you're the toughest guy here, which is cool.
What?
But if I can't fulfill your things, if I don't have the data, right? And I know that's important for you, and I say, Chris, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand your need to have that level of data to make a decision. I can't provide that for you. And I want to be totally upfront with you about that. So how about this? When I get a chance to get the data, and this is proven out to your satisfaction, can I call you back?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Great, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
See, so I'm not wasting your time. I'm not giving you a survey. I'm finding out what you need, and if I can't provide it, I say I can't provide it. But I might be able to do that in the future. Is it okay to contact you later? You know, honestly and ethically. It's
Or
very
even the
simple.
hardest thing to do besides walk out and say, you know what? I don't think I'm a fit for you, but I know someone who might be.
Exactly. And when you provide that, you create a tremendous connection with that person. They remember you, and they'll help you out in the future. Like, for example, if you said, you just got a couple of shingles off, you know, like 1 or 2 shingles. Since we're up there, how about if we just fix it for you? Would that be okay with you?
Yeah.
And you know,
Thanks for being honest
Yeah.
that, you know, I don't have that much damage.
And we want to make sure you don't get more damage, so we'll fix it for you, free. Just, you know, if you do need help, remember us, give us a call, and if any of your friends need help, you know, please give them my card. And let me call you back in a couple of months, you know, and see how you're doing. Make sure nothing happened in the meantime, but in the meantime, you can call me anytime. And just see if you know, because you gotta protect the roof, because that's where, you know, that's what protects the whole house. Something simple like that, right? Since you're up there anyway, you put a couple of nails in, throw a couple of shingles on there.
Put a hole in the side.
Well, that's the difference between somebody who does a good job and who's honest and who doesn't, right? But if you prove out what you do by something simple like that, that you're ethical, it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter where you come from. They're gonna say, Vic was a good guy. He did this for me, right? If you do a bad job, they'll tell everybody.
Oh, yeah.
But if you do a good job, they'll tell people who are already good customers for you.
And you know the numbers, right? You know the ratios. Every time you piss somebody off, they're gonna tell 21 people. Every time you make someone happy, they're gonna tell 6.
Yep, that's right.
Those are the numbers.
But you want 6 buyers. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, questions? Anybody have questions? JP? Or did I answer them before you asked them?
No, I just have to frame it. What I'm wanting to do actually is just to go in with what you're expressing here and
Mhm.
just seeing their objections.
Okay.
So, and then I like the idea of pacing, like you kind of like to stop and pacing, so, you know, if something happens in the future. The other thing I was thinking is, the other benefit I just thought of this now, well, I knew it before, but as a publisher, I can tell them, look, if you ever need design help or if you need editor expression, because I have experience as a publisher
Mhm.
and I know what it's like, so maybe I can also kind of go on that side.
Yeah,
Like I understand deadlines.
Exactly.
Do you want help with advertising, how to get advertising, how to book, or, you know, whatever, I'm good at structure.
or you could say, when they say, what are you not getting? Well, we're pretty much getting everything. He goes, well, where are your pain points? What keeps you up at night? Well, you know, there's sometimes a disconnect between the design house getting the things out on time and getting it to the you know, the guys who are printing it. That's interesting. We provide that service in-house.
Right.
Would you like to talk about that? Because our supply chain is much shorter that way. It's much more economical, and it's much more efficient.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so I'm not
when
really
you find out, you know, so maybe it's not enough to ask, what are you not getting from your other printers? What are you not getting from your other suppliers? Because we provide the full spectrum of things that you need to do. We'd love to help you out in any number of those areas, or maybe all of them. Because when you have it all integrated into one place, it makes it much more efficient. We can control the process, especially when bad weather hits Toronto. That's a tough thing sometimes, right?
Yeah. See, here's another interesting one. And oddly enough, so I have, how would I say, 500, well, Montreal, I'm cheaper than Montreal, so,
Everything's
I-
cheaper in Toronto than Montreal.
right, which is the irony. So it's easy for me to get business, and the only stipulation is, well, remember back in that amazing snowstorm,
Yeah,
right? So that's what their objective is.
sure.
That means my paper won't come out on time. Okay, and I know why they want it out on time. Because the supermarket that's placing the ad needs the paper out before the weekend, and it's
Right.
printed Thursday night, so I need it there by Friday, so people will buy the supermarket's goods.
I
'cause they see
understand that. I understand that, and that's very important. It's a very important source of revenue for both of us. What about the dailies as opposed to the weekends?
Right.
Because we can do that part for you, prove ourselves to you, and then move on to taking over the weekends as well.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
right, so you got to get in and then grow from there. Questions?
I'm just kind of baffled and blown away that you could be dropped into any environment and sell anybody anything. I mean, you ever go up to Alaska and sell them like ice cubes up there or anything?
Well, hold on a second.
You know, all it is it's principles. It's the way you
It's the
think.
principle. He's doing
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
thing
yeah.
every single time.
Now, I'm not saying it works even better when you create physical rapport with them, but you can certainly try it. Because when you get the criterion values with the physical rapport, you probably won't get any objections. Let's begin with. All right, so questions, comments. All right, let's do something quick. And do something quick that's fun. Kat wants to.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't you guys sit back, relax, and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Now, you know what it's like to be in trance because you've been in trance this whole time, except you're more aware of it now. So now we can just relax and take a deep breath and let it out with a sigh. That's right. Because we're just going to have a little conversation. I want to have a conversation with your mind, not that mind. The other mind. The other mind. And as we have this conversation between both of you and me, you're going to find you have these wonderful dreams tonight. As you go to sleep, you'll have vivid dreams. You'll have wonderful dreams of all these things that we did today and that we did this whole weekend, integrating into your communications. And it just gets better and better and better because it becomes part of who you are. It becomes the way you communicate with everybody in every situation. So you can get the things that you want by your definitions and by your standards. Because ultimately, it's about making you happier and about everybody else being happier around you. Now, there's some other times, another time that you may think, another time that you may have felt really good, another time that you may have felt a tickle, that you may start to giggle. That's right. That's right. It's a very interesting thing when you start to giggle and you start to laugh. Now, curl your toes back up so they point towards the ceiling. So you're smiling with your whole body. Because when you're smiling with your whole body, the whole world is smiling back at you. And isn't that a great feeling to have as you go out and do good things for the right reasons? It's a very interesting feeling, isn't it? And as you let that energy flow, you can feel it spinning faster and faster and faster. So now you have all types of ways to use energy, you have all types of ways to use your languaging, all types of ways you can interact with the world with power and precision. And as you do this, you become aware of how the world works and the levers that you have to move the world in the right direction for all the right reasons. That's right. Just feel it get stronger and stronger and stronger. And it just makes you want to laugh. It just makes you want to giggle because when you laugh, changes happen very quickly. All the things that had maybe been less than positive, maybe held you back in the past, just fall away. They go 1,000 miles away. All the way out of your mind, out of your body, as you feel much better about yourself and about the way you work in the world and how the world interacts with you. And you'll notice a change in how the world interacts with you. And you'll notice that all the colors are brighter, all the things are happier, because it's how you interact with the world and how you control your state that makes everything change around you. And you've learned these lessons, you've gotten these skills, you did the exercises. Now go out in the world and use them with confidence, power, and precision. And if you ever want to change anything else, there'll be another seminar coming up. And you can always come back and refresh your skills and look back on all the things that you have in your manual and watch the DVDs, and you'll notice all these things that you may not have noticed before consciously, but they are there unconsciously, but they'll be the realizations that you have other skills, things that you can use, things that you will use, and they'll be fun because you'll have that feeling of laughing. That's right. That's right. Your toes going up in the air, and you smile with your whole body. Just feel the smile getting bigger and brighter, with the world being totally different than it was. That's right. Well, thank you very much, people. I appreciate your time. I'm sure David has some other things that he wants to take care of, other housekeeping. We want to make sure we get your contact information so we can stay in touch. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions.
Thank you, James.